my friends, JRdukes with you. Appreciate everybody being with me today. What a great couple of days for all of us Patriots, right? It's always nice to win when you can win, right? So that's always a good feeling. It's better than losing. Let me know if you can hear me or if you have any problems. Just hit the go live button and everybody's starting to file in. So hello to everyone on the X platform. Obviously, welcome to all my friends, all my free-minded friends out there. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and welcome to our friend on the Twitch platform. I am JRdukes. I'm your host. Happy to be with you once again. If you haven't done so already, please introduce yourself when you get a second. Say hello. Let us know where you're from. Always like to see where everybody is from across this great country, for that matter, across the world from time to time. So, wow, a lot going on right now. So welcome to the feed. We're going to go through some stories today. Specifically, I don't know if y'all have seen this or not, but we're gonna show it in just a second. There is the funniest thing I have seen in a long time pertaining to Michael Cohen. And if you remember, Michael Cohen is the aka the fixer for President Trump elect. And he got trolled really heavily. I guess it was yesterday. And I have the video to show you. It is funny. I don't want to overblow it, but it's pretty funny. I was definitely laughing out loud, which is something we all probably need with all the stress and everything that's been going on. But obviously, if you are a Trump fan, if you are a patriot, a follower of this channel, you know that it's been a great week to have such a fantastic victory, not just for Donald Trump and not necessarily just for me, but for all of us, for our country, for our children. It's going to really be a consequential election that just happened. I have no doubt that this is going to be a blessing for our country and for everyone that frankly voted for Kamala Harris and things did not go your way. Breathe, relax. Everything is going to be fine one way or the other. I've learned a long time ago, life's too short to be sitting around moping and mad and aggravated. I can remember when Barack Obama won years ago. I did not vote for him, and I have to tell you, it took some time before I could even listen to him give a speech. And just over time, you kind of get used to what the reality is. I'm a person with Christian convictions, Christian faith. I'm a Christian, and I just always believe that God has things working for those, for all of us, for that matter, one way or the other, for his better glory. And the bottom line is he's in charge, and that's just the way that I look at it. And I encourage you to do the same one way or the other. So I see everybody piling in on the X platform. Welcome. I like to see those numbers go up. While we are about to get started here, might as well hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe. You can follow me on the X platform at Reach JRdukes. And of course, right here on YouTube, I am simply JRdukes. So welcome, everybody, once again. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Take a look at the current state of the election, all right? Now, this is as of right now. Specifically, we're going to talk about the presidential race and then just briefly mention about what's going on in the House of Representatives. So here's the good news. They're officially calling the race. I'm sure you know this by now, that Donald Trump has won the race. The only thing now is who's going to carry the state of Nevada. And I know some of the news channels have already said Nevada is in Donald Trump's column, but generally I like to wait until the AP blesses it, and then it's kind of somewhat official, at least in my mind. But there's many news agencies. I believe CNN just came out and said that Nevada is in Donald Trump's column. I'm very confident that Arizona is going to be the same way. You can see he's pretty far ahead right here. You have Donald Trump at 1.417 million votes counted so far, with 78% of the precincts reporting, and Kamala Harris at 1.25. So what is that, 2, 3, 4? That's 250,000 votes ahead. I think that looks pretty good with 78% voting. So we'll just have, or the returns and stuff that are currently in. So we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Now remember, I predicted that it was going to be 312, and I have the video to prove it, but we're not going to watch that unless and until it is exactly 312. I was predicting a sweep for Donald Trump, at least of the so-called battleground states. If I'm, I try to be honest with everybody one way or the other as to what I predict or what I think or how I'm feeling. I did not see Donald Trump winning in such a huge landslide. I think it is not an understatement to just state the following. This is a huge, to use Donald Trump's favorite word, a huge victory for President elect Donald Trump. Not since Ronald Reagan have we seen these type of numbers for the Republican Party. It just doesn't happen for Republicans. As you know, the last time a Republican candidate won the actual popular vote for president, I believe, was 2004 when George W. Bush had his reelection. So it's been a minute. It's been 20 years since we have had the popular vote won by the Democratic presidential winner. So it's astounding in my mind. In addition to that, even in the blue states like California and New York, the margins are substantially similar. If memory serves me right, I believe in, what was it, New Jersey or Connecticut, one of those, there was only like anywhere from 3 to 5 percentage points that separated Kamala Harris from Donald Trump. And in my mind, that's pretty good. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm pretty pleased to see that. I think everything is going good, and let's hope that we're able to pull off and win the House. So far, we obviously have the Senate in clear control of the Republicans. Let's switch over and take a look at exactly what they're predicting. We had the U.S. House Representatives, as you see on the screen right here. You have 119 right now for the Dems officially, and the GOP, you have 212 for the GOP. So the number we need is 217 is the magic number. Is it 217 or 219? Anybody know? I'm drawing, or 218. I'm drawing a blank. I think it's 217, 218, whatever it is. We're very, very close to having that magic number where Mike Johnson presumably will keep the speakership. The Republicans will be in charge of the government. And that's going to be fantastic, ladies and gentlemen, because Donald Trump, simply put, is going to be able to carry out his agenda on behalf of the American people. Clearly, he has a mandate to do so. And I think the margin, let me see what the popular vote is here right now, if it shows. I know that it's well over 5 million the last time I checked it, which is, again, it's pretty exceptional. All right, let's take a quick peek at the comments, and then we're going to drill right into it. Again, welcome. If you haven't done so, please put your name and information in the screen. Let us know where you're from. Always like to see who everybody is checking in from. All right, my friend Sapphire, good to see you here today. Nevada and Arizona were called for Trump today. I wasn't sure if it has been officially called. The AP has not technically called it, at least according to my screen right here. But I do agree with you, my friend, that they have indeed, on some of the different stations, such as CNN, maybe Fox News, have called. And we know Donald Trump's going to have a suite. I just generally, the gold standard in my mind, right or wrong, is generally the AP. If the AP calls it, I pretty well run with it. But fair enough. All right. And then Sapphire and Carrie Lake is gaining on Gallup. She's 1% behind. Well, that is encouraging news. I did not think she was going to be able to squeak out a victory there, but last time I checked, they had I knew it was narrowing, but they didn't really have a lot of the vote in. So hopefully some of the redder counties continue to come on in, and maybe she can squeak it out. I really like Carrie Lake. She has not had good luck as far as winning anything. Maybe this is going to be a change. Obviously, Donald Trump has what we call coattails. That's what they call it, if you haven't heard that term before. And it's very clear that his coattails are very long and very strong this season because of the fact that obviously the Senate has flipped clearly and firmly to the Republican control. And again, we anticipate that the House of Representatives is going to follow behind. And of course, Rose Marie, we appreciate having you in the chat. You are always welcome to chat with us. Thank you for being here today. And then Sapphire Carey with only 75. That's what I thought. Is it not aggravating that in a great country like ours that we have to deal with waiting to see who is winning or who has won a particular election? I just don't understand that in the year 2024, with all the advances and technology that we have, I'm able to sit here at home and talk to you all over the world right now just by clicking a button on a mouse pad. And yet, for some strange reason, with a ton of money being spent on these elections, securing these elections supposedly, and making sure these elections are smooth, we cannot get an official result days after the actual election. It just makes no sense to me, and it's unfortunate. I think that's about the best way we can say it. But if it's only 75% counted and a 1% spread, it is entirely possible she could squeak it out. I will say one last thing on this subject. I believe in Pennsylvania, they have called for the Republican to win that seat. I'm drawing a blank on his name off the top of my head, but he has apparently unseated the guy that's been there for like 30 years or something like that. Bob Kasich or something is what's hitting my brain right there. If you know his name, put it in the chat, and I'll read at it there. But at any rate, clearly another win for Donald Trump and the Republicans coming out of the great state of Pennsylvania. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a few things today. I want to drill down on what I want to talk about on the on Michael Cohen. I find this absolutely hilarious. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this. Let me get this set up so we can view this together. All right, here we go. Yeah, let's share the screen. All righty. So the best video I found was actually on the X platform, and we'll see how it goes. I wanted to just preface this by saying really quick that Michael Cohen, among other individuals, has been very happy
and my children,
to say
I certainly don't
and
want
to
them
point
moving.
out that if, first of all, he has been a fiercely in opposition to Donald Trump. As we all know, he's done everything he can to have Donald Trump put in jail, to testify against him, to you name it. He's tried to do it to Donald Trump. He was also a big part of that farcical trial, that lawfare in New York City. And he's been all over the internet saying that if Donald Trump wins the presidency, he's going to move. Well, as you know, Donald Trump has won, and he is not willing to leave. But let's take a look at this, because this gets kind of funny, and I think you guys will all enjoy. And you're right, Sapphire, it's McCormick defeated Casey. I don't think Casey has actually conceded yet. He wants to wait till all the ballots are counted, and I think that's okay. I think if all the votes haven't been counted and there is a mathematical possibility you can win, why concede? Go ahead and give it another couple of days. We'll be all right one way or the other. But the AP, the Associated Press, has confirmed that he indeed has beat Casey. That's McCormick has defeated Casey in the great state of Pennsylvania. So here's the fixer, Michael Cohen. We're going to listen to a minute or two of this. This is him expressing his feelings about Donald Trump.
What do you think happens to you if he wins?
Well, I'm out of here. I mean, I'm already working on a foreign passport with a completely different name. I don't know how it's going to work as far as dealing with my wife and my children. I certainly don't want them moving to where I'm looking to go. But I don't think yourself, the president of MSNBC, General Milley, Liz Cheney, how many people has he turned around and said that these are people that I intend to go after if I have the ability to? And the worst is the Supreme Court's recent decision that gave him immunity, presidential immunity. Now he thinks it's not only is it I can do whatever I want, but I can't even be prosecuted. It's a get out of jail free card solely for the president.
So you're out of here. You'd leave the country.
I have no choice.
He has no choice. He has to leave the country. It's just astounding how these people constantly lie. Donald Trump said he's going to go after his enemies. Lie. Donald Trump said that he was going to take your rights away, or whatever nonsense and garbage is coming out of Cohen's mouth or these other so-called detractors of former President Donald Trump, President-elect Donald Trump, I might add. So anyway, he said he's going to leave the country. Let's see if he decides that that's exactly what he wants to continue to do. I found this on the internet. This is hilarious, and we're going to listen to it today, okay? Let me preface this by telling you this is some type of app he was streaming out of. He's always milking the internet trying to get money. Not that there's anything wrong trying to make a living, right? I get that, but he's always got some podcast or something going on and essentially begging and pleading for donations or people to buy this or buy that. On this particular site, Michael Cohen, I forgot the name of the site, but apparently you can pay money if you are a viewer of this particular stream. You can pay money, and it allows you to put these filters that the kids love to use, where you turn into an animal or you can transform the person into something. Wait, just watch this, because you're going to see Michael Cohen get just a little bit PO'd. It's interesting. I think it's hilarious. I hope you get a good chuckle out of it too. So let's listen to this together, and we'll talk about it.
No problem. Wow. Genius you are. Can we stop with that? I appreciate it. I don't like the stupid turkeys. All right. Let's just knock that stupid shit off, please. All right. I did. I said I was leaving. And then the following day, get that through your dumb heads. The following day, I turned around and I said that there's no chance in the world that I'm leaving my country. Thank you very much. All right. I'm not leaving anywhere. You leave. This is my country. And I have every right, every single right within which to turn around when we stop so we can. All right, 2 seconds. I'm going to end up blocking this idiot. No problem.
I'm sorry, folks. Is that not hilarious? I just thought that was so funny. You could tell he's about to blow the blood pressure cuff right then and there. He was not a happy camper, and of course, he kept trying to put his thumb over the camera to take the chicken or the turkey or whatever that was. And I think that's just funny as it could be. I was to say I was laughing out loud would be an understatement because to me, that was gold. It's good to see people get a little bit of retribution or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It just felt good, right or wrong. I liked it. So, at any rate, thanks for that information, Sapphire, on McCormick versus Casey. And yeah, Casey is refusing to concede. All right, my friend Matt, thanks for joining us today. You're from how do you say that? Langsburg, Michigan. I've seen that city. I don't think I've been through there, but welcome. Good to. Oh, my friend, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, Matt. Hey, I definitely appreciate any time y'all are willing and able to support the channel. It definitely helps. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate it. Thanks again, Matt. I know you've been here before, and it's always a pleasure to have you in our chat today. All right, my friend Sapphire, Miles City, Montana. Okay, yeah, I know you're all the way up there in Montana. Thanks for being here as always. All right, folks, thank y'all for being here. Let's continue down with my feed that I want to. I have some of these that I clicked on here that I found today, and I just wanted to briefly go over some of these because I wanted to comment on them as we go through them together. All right, first thing I want to talk about is take a look at this right here. This was posted by Elon Musk today, and I mean, I think it speaks for itself. Not only did Donald Trump have a blowout victory this particular election, look at all the red on this map. When you look at the appeal of Donald Trump, these are actual counties. This is a county by county map as to what he won. There is a whole lot of red on this particular map. Let's see if that blows up or not. Yeah, there we go. Take a look at that. From coast to coast, there is a ton of red. These are counties that Donald Trump has won from coast to coast. That's a heck of a lot of red. To me, that's pretty impressive. But I just wanted to make sure we all got a visual picture of that. It just kind of puts it in perspective, I think. All right. And then, of course, I had to take a look at this clip here with Megyn Kelly. I love Megyn Kelly. If y'all have not seen her or seen her channel, I encourage you to check it out. She has a channel on YouTube, and of course, she's also on the X platform right here. But she's talking about who the biggest losers of 2024 because of this election. And as a quick side note, you remember way back in when Donald Trump first ran, that would be 2016. She and Donald Trump were not exactly friends. Remember at that debate, she was asking that famous question to Donald Trump that it was something like, you have always put down women or made comments about women in some type of negative light. And then Donald Trump famously said, only Rosie O'Donnell, and everybody laughed. Well, that was her that asked this particular question. They have since made up a long time ago. They kind of buried the hatchet, if you will. And she came out and actually endorsed Donald Trump the other day before the election, which I thought was really, really cool because these type individuals, these podcasters, they generally don't endorse candidates, but she obviously decided to.
We do that to our.
Let's take a look at this here for just a minute.
One of the big losers.
And, we'll talk about it on the other side. So she's talking about the biggest losers in this particular election. We're not going to listen to the whole clip, just the beginning part of it.
Celeb crowd. We touched on this yesterday. Beyonce, loser. Oprah, huge loser. J-Lo, you matter. You matter. Loser. No one cares what you think. If you want to talk to me about what it is you're doing to your skin, I'm all in. Go on. You got my full attention. If you want to tell me who to vote for or what's happening with the economy or immigration, please sit down. No one cares. We would like to know what happened between you and Ben Affleck, what happened between you and P. Diddy, exactly what you're doing to your butt, and how you keep your skin so glowy. That will end.
She's talking about J-Lo there. I have not seen this clip in its entirety until now, but that's a great comeback. She's remember J-Lo is at that event with Kamala Harris, essentially scolding and really forcefully telling people that we're going to lose our freedoms and whatnot. You definitely need to vote for Kamala Harris. Well, Megyn Kelly's right. We got questions for you. How about your relationship with P. Diddy? How about all that nonsense that went on during your relationship with P. Diddy? Remember, P. Diddy was at trial for murder because of what was it? He was at a nightclub and some individual got killed. The jury ended up acquitting him. But here's the deal. I don't have any basis in fact for this, but the reports that I have read, the suspicion was that J-Lo brought that arm to the bar for him. And that was one of the reasons, if not the primary reason, that they broke up after that situation. Of course, she was very wise to break up from him and move on. The thing is that allegedly P. Diddy has a propensity to do this type of thing, having his female companion, his partner, whatever, basically hold the firearm so that his hands are not dirty. But anyway, I digress. This is just what she's pointing out, and I think
the
that's
list
a good
of
way
things
to put
we
it.
care about J-Lo's opinion on.
Yeah, who
Taylor
cares,
Swift,
right?
sorry, you effed around and found out. You do not have unlimited influence. The young girls love you because you sing songs about men who break up with you, and they can all relate.
Tell me if y'all agree with this or not. I think what's going on a lot of times with these celebrities is they're making a lot of money. They're very wealthy. And I think, frankly, they start losing touch with reality. I think they have a distorted sense of themselves and their importance. And I think that could be seriously a fatal flaw financially for these people that are coming forward and endorsing someone like Kamala Harris, especially the way they come forward and they essentially scold other people to do one thing or another. I've always liked Dolly Parton, for example. You know what? Dolly Parton has the right mindset when it comes to politics. She has never, at least to my knowledge, endorsed any politician. And one of the interviews that I was viewing pertaining to her, someone asked her, said, well, who are you going to support for whatever? And she goes, I don't talk about that publicly. She says, I just simply am an entertainer. And of course, the reporter pressed her, said, well, why will you not come out and tell us your feelings? She goes, look, I'm an entertainer. My job is to entertain you, to make you feel good, to make you feel happy, to convey emotions through my songs. It's not my job to tell you who to vote for or not vote for. She says, as soon as I come out and endorse one candidate, then the other half of the country is mad. They're upset. I don't want to give those type of feelings to people that are coming to my shows or they're listening to my music. And I think that's spot on. I think that's absolutely spot on. Y'all agree with that? Sapphire, I'm sure you agree. Yeah, I see you guys on there. I just think, to me, it's common sense. You do not want to mix your career, your where you make your money, and your music. I mean, I obviously do this because I enjoy doing it, but I'm not an entertainer. I'm a podcast host or whatever. I mean, when you're giving music or when you're into music, you're into the entertainment industry, Robert De Niro, whoever these people are. Why? I have to tell you, when it comes to Taylor Swift, I've always liked her music. But you can ask my girlfriend. Whenever Taylor Swift music comes on, I turn it. And I told myself I was not going to listen to her music or contribute anything to do with Taylor Swift, at least until after the election is well over with. And that's exactly what I did. And I will stand by that. I just think it's poor judgment on their part to intervene or interject themselves in politics. And when you look at Beyonce, I don't know of any politician, to my knowledge, that she has supported that was actually elected. She was big into Beto O'Rourke in Texas for governor. He went crashing down. I think she supported him 2 or 3 different times, and it just did not end well. And again, it's just poor choices on their part to contribute to that. I think it's pretty straightforward. And Matt says it's time to look forward and move fast. Amen. Tariff, European. Yeah, I think this is great. These tariffs, everybody, not everybody, some of these politicians were freaking out over this tariffs. Oh, this is going to be a tax increase. It's going to hurt working class people. Donald Trump has to have these tools in his tool bag, so to speak, if he's going to have any ability to encourage, the carrot and stick approach, to encourage fair trade, to encourage the proper the proper trade association we should have with other countries. He has to have this. Now, theoretically, hypothetically, if some president was to impose extreme tariffs on everybody for everything, yeah, that could be a problem. But again, we're not talking about the extremes. We're talking about not allowing us to be ripped off, not allowing the United States to be taken advantage of. A quick example is in China, for example. You cannot have, I could not go to China and start a TikTok. I could call it a Duke Talk. It's simply not allowed. You cannot do that. It's forbidden under Chinese law. Everything has to be owned, approved, whatever, through the Chinese Communist Party. Yet China is able to operate TikTok here. And here's the funny thing. Our Congress said, TikTok, your time is up. No pun intended there. But at any rate, TikTok, you got to either sell or close down. Well, they're trying to stall that by going to the courts and asking for relief from the court system. The irony is we don't have that reverse option in China. We can't go to the courts there and say, hey, they won't let me open up a Duke Talk in China. There's no such thing. The government there controls everything. So exactly, man, a definite trade imbalance. She's great, and she does. Yeah, you're talking about Megan. She does kind of drop the F-bombs once in a while. Y'all know that I try not to cuss on my program just because there's really no sense in it. It doesn't necessarily kill my ears, but it does happen. And some of the videos we watch will have profanity in there. But again, I try to limit it to the best that I possibly can. There's just really no sense in it. But at any rate, I don't want to get down that road too far. And then, Matt, we must bring manufacturing back to the United States quickly. Drill, baby, drill. Yeah, Matt, you're exactly right again. This is the reason, one of the many reasons Donald Trump just mopped up with the Democrats. The Democratic Party, and if I got time, I got a video I want to show you all on this. The Democratic Party, they just simply have lost their way. The Democratic Party of today is not the Democratic Party of JFK. It's not the Democratic Party of even Bill Clinton back in the 90s. These Democrats a while back were a party of fiscal responsibility, a party of the working man and woman. They were a party that had common sense. Even though they may be a little progressive, they were essentially conservative. They wanted to make sure our homeland was taken care of. You would never, I would never think I would live to see the day where the Democrats were pushing to allow men to compete with women, that they thought it was okay for children to receive sex change operations, that, the list goes on and on. And what is this going on with Israel, where the Democratic Party is allowing or turning a blind eye to all this anti-Israel, anti-Jewish everything. And it's ridiculous. And they allow it to continue on our college campuses. Clearly, there are these professors at college that are indoctrinating our children. They are literally indoctrinating them and not giving them the whole story about the history of Israel. Israel has been there a long time, at least 2,000 plus years. This is the same land of Jesus, who was a Jew. It's just almost like we're living in the Twilight Zone. I don't know, my friends. You agree? Disagree? It's just nutty what is going on. But the Democratic Party of today is a socialist party. Full stop. There's nothing else to say about it. That's what they are. And if they don't learn to get that message and get back to taking care of America and taking care of our people here, it's going to be a party that's going to be lost for a very long time. And unfortunately, like we see in the news with all of these Democrats coming out, like Gavin Newsom, as Donald Trump would say, it's a little funny there. If they don't get back on the path the way it was with JFK or even Bill Clinton back in the 1990s, they're going to be a party that is going to be in ruins, because the American people generally are not going to support a party that has these type of values or lack of values, depending on how you're looking at it. And you're right, drill, baby, drill. Is anybody really surprised that inflation is off the hook? I mean, come on. The first day when they took power, they killed the Keystone Pipeline, bringing all that oil from the oil sands there in Canada down to refineries in Houston, Texas. What the hell did we think was going to happen? I mean, when you kill domestic oil production, God has blessed the United States in such a way. I could literally talk an hour just on the land topography, the geography of our great country, the way that our harbors are all sheltered with these barrier islands on both coasts, including the Gulf of Mexico. How we have all these natural resources. We have the Mississippi River, which essentially feeds and allows us to travel easily to 2/3 of our nation. The way we're protected with the Appalachian Mountains and the Rocky Mountains, and it's difficult for an invading army to invade us. We're protected by the Atlantic Ocean on one side, the Pacific Ocean on another side. We have more oil here and in Alaska than they do any other place in the world, including Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, all of those places combined. But we have these tree-hugging, crazy environmentalists trying to make it where we can't drill our own oil. But yet we have to buy it from places like Venezuela. And the oil that we have to now import and refine from Venezuela is not what we call light Texas sweet crude, where you just kind of drill a hole and it bubbles up to the surface. My friends, that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at this black tar type of nasty oil. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's oil. There's a lot of oil in Venezuela, but it's not sweet Texas crude oil. It's a different type of oil, yet that's what we have to process. And guess what? When you process that, it costs more money. When you process that, it damages the environment. So this is simple economics. When you restrict our ability to have cheap gas, oil, cheap electricity, everything is going to be more expensive. It's just the way it is. And these environmentalists, again, I want to take care of the planet just like you guys do. I want to have clean water, clean air, all these other things. We all do. But I don't want to destroy our ability to feed our families in the meantime, because we think we might get the temperature down 1 or 2 degrees over 50 years. Are you kidding me? Hell, waiting at a street light, the temperature changes 2 or 3 degrees while I'm waiting for the light to go through the light. These people are nuts, just absolute nuts. All right, back on here. Sorry about my tangent there, folks, but get me on that soapbox and I'll take off with it. We must bring manufacturing back to the United States quickly, Drew, but you're exactly right. Sapphire agrees with you, Matt. Absolutely. Oh, okay, Rosemary Fiera, thank you so much for your super chat. Appreciate that. You are a valued person on this channel. Thank you for subscribing. All right, real sweet. I'm kind of joking about the Rosemary. For y'all that don't know, that's my girlfriend, so she's just playing with me tonight. So thank y'all so much, and thank you, Rosemary. And then, of course, my buddy Matt. Thank you again. Another super chat. I appreciate that, Matt. We have to be America first. Amen. We have zero time to waste it and celebrate. That's exactly right. This is so much bigger than trivial stuff. Matt, amen. I couldn't say it better myself. That's exactly what's going on here. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've been really pushing my channel this last year, since all this political stuff started taking off. The goal I have, I can assure you, I am not doing this trying to become rich. This has nothing to do with money for me. Number one, I enjoy doing it because I enjoy talking to people. Number two, I feel like I'm giving back because whatever it is I might know, I like being able to share it. And what a blessing to be alive today, where we can get on a computer and talk with our new friends, our new family, if you will, and share ideas and exchange ideas. And that's exactly what we got going on right here. And I consider it a blessing. But the goal that I've had this entire time was to help our country. And for this past year, it's been trying to help President Donald Trump become elected. And friends, with your help, We have all made that possible. And Matt, I know you've done your part too, and I really appreciate it. And thanks for helping out with the channel. It is nice. It helps with the bills and stuff like that, as I've said. So appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. Sapphire stopped listening to her years ago when Nashville was holding a going away party for her because she was moving out of state, and she was not only a no-show, but she chartered a jet 1 hour before. Yeah, I'm sure all these people have issues and have problems, if you will. None of these people are perfect. There's no doubt about it. A lot of these environmentalists, they always want to tell you and me what to do and not to do. Yet you are correct. They'll end up getting on a plane and taking off, or they'll fly. What is that? John Kerry's famous for doing this. He'll tell us all that we should cut our emission footprint, and yet they get on a jet and go overseas to talk about cutting our emissions. It's just nuts. And I'm assuming you're talking about Megyn Kelly, right, Sapphire? I hope I don't got our conversations running together, but your point's well taken either way. Rosemary with another super sticker. Thank you so much. Our Sapphire, it's been there close to 3,000. That's exactly right. You're talking about Israel, obviously. That it's been in our human history since the beginning of human history, and that land over there, don't kid yourself, is Jewish. It was given him, by my beliefs, it was given to them by God. It's in the Bible. It's not something I'm making up. That's exactly what's in there. And Trump called the leader of Hamas yesterday and told him, you have until January 2020 for the restart. You know, that's another important thing, too, that I have noticed. And that is Donald Trump is not even technically president of the United States yet. Yet you have all these world leaders calling to congratulate him, which is not really unusual. Yet there are many positive things right now going on in our country as a result of President Trump simply being elected president of the United States. From what I have heard and read online, you have countries, I think it was India or something, instead of buying Russian oil, now they're buying oil from us. You have Hamas saying we need to end the war, we need to find a way to end it. Same thing in Ukraine. You got everybody starting to change their attitude, changing their tone. The conversation is taking a turn for the better. There's another couple examples on the top of my list here that I can't think about, or can't remember off the top of my head, but there are many things going on right now positively just because Donald Trump is coming back to the White House. We also know that we have our friends over on the Democratic side, some of them anyways, that instead of understanding that they lost big time, and they need to re-examine their values and their platform and what they stand for and what they've done to this great country. Instead of doing that and having a good reflection time, what are they doing? They're on TV like Letitia James and Gavin Newsom out there saying, hey, we're going to fight. We're going to hammer him. We're going to Trump proof ourselves. And of course, you got Letitia James making threats against him personally. Just a bunch of craziness and nonsense. And hey, it is what it is. The American people has presented Donald Trump with a mandate, and I hope he does what needs to be done to take care of business. I think it's just that simple. And you're right, Sapphire. I realize now it's Taylor Swift. These people, who's that guy in the Titanic, Leonardo DiCaprio? These people are famous for always trying to tell us what to do and how to live our lives and how to cut back and all this other nonsense. And yet they're the ones taking jets, private jets and boats or whatever, and just having the greatest time of their lives. They're trying to tell us how we should cut back. The reality is we should be using more energy. We should be buying more things. That doesn't mean we can't take care of our environment at the same time. We just need to do it in a more efficient and cleaner way. And the irony here is, instead of buying oil from overseas, we need to be producing our own oil and refining it here, because the United States produces oil more clean than any other place in the world. And one last comment on this so-called climate nonsense that's going on. And I have to be careful what I say. I don't mind saying it on the X platform, but I don't want to run into trouble again with YouTube. on their terms of service because I have to really be careful in the context of this environmental nonsense. The reality is this: it wouldn't really matter what the United States did or did not do. We can change our behavior all we want. If you have countries like China and India and other places, China is putting on 1 to 2 new coal burning factories or power plants every week. 1 to 2 new ones every week. Can you imagine that? And they are not cutting back their so-called emissions, but they want us to cut back our emissions. What do you think about that? Isn't that nonsense? I guess these activists, these Taylor Swift types, I guess in their mind, they're thinking if we cut back, then that makes everything better. No, it's one world and we all breathe the same air. It circulates around the globe sooner or later. I mean, I know you guys get this. And if you're not watching live, I know those that will listen to this at a later time, just think about what I just said. And let me know if you agree or disagree with it. Put in the comments. Remember, if you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment like you're watching this video at a later date, if you subscribe, I always get to your comment first, and I will respond personally. I'm happy to do so. Anyway, Sapphire, thanks for that clarification. And Matt, thank you so much for your support channel. That's your second contribution today, and I definitely appreciate that, my friend. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. If anybody's got any questions, pop them in, and we can talk about it and get right on it here. So I want to move on to the next little video I got. Here's one I found out.
Lost a day ago. Like, damn.
You have her being painted over. I see a lot of these
lost
type
a day
of,
ago.
I don't know if you call it a
Like,
meme or just a video.
damn.
I bet she loves seeing that. Yeah, that's pretty bad, ain't it? A lot of that all over X. I saw some on what was it, Instagram, and some of the other ones. Bunch of stuff going on. Now, this one right here is pretty cool. This is Tim Walt's daughter, and the caption here says, this is what she says. It says, Hope correctly says, this country doesn't deserve Kamala Harris. She meant that as an insult, obviously. It goes on to say, Hope meant it as a compliment to Harris, but the truth is really the exact opposite. Harris got countless Americans killed by illegals and deserves life in prison. Okay, so obviously a different way to take on this, but we'll take a quick peek at it. I thought it was interesting.
Okay, I'm sitting.
And remember, this is Tim Waltz, Tampon Tim of Minnesota. This is his daughter making this post.
Sitting here on my couch eating SpongeBob mac and cheese and watching Outer Banks, and I just have a couple initial post-election thoughts. I've officially reached the point of anger, and I'm not an angry person, so I'm just trying to channel it. The first one being, this country does not deserve Kamala Harris. That woman should go live her best life wherever she wants, doing whatever she wants, because we don't deserve her at this point.
You're right. We don't deserve her, and she can go live her best life. The old joke is about a vice president that a woman had, I think it was 2 sons. One went to war, joined the military, went overseas to join the war effort. And the other one served as vice president of the United States. And I think it says something like after a year or two, no one ever heard anything from either one ever again. So that's just no joke about being vice president. You kind of just drift off into the sunset. And hopefully that's the case for Kamala Harris.
Only people that delivered this election were Black women, and we failed them. And it's just heartbreaking. And we've got to do whatever we can to support them and support.
That's not exactly true. If we get time, we'll look at the statistics later. Donald Trump ate into a ton of non-traditional Republic support, I guess is the best way to say it. Donald Trump did well with black women, black men. I think the only groups he really did not do well with was generally, I think it was white women that were college educated that made over $100,000 a year. It's one or two odd things along them lines. But anyway,
for our people through these next 4 years. Another one is these people have to live in their own skin, as in JD Vance and Donald Trump have to be JD Vance and Donald Trump. And that is not a punishment I would wish upon anybody except those 2 individuals.
Well, enough from her. Isn't it amazing how these kids can be so young and so stupid? I mean, she's obviously a cute, intelligent young woman, but she has no common sense. She clearly doesn't understand how the world works. And in my opinion, it looks like she's another product of this indoctrination. There's no way that these kids are getting a balanced education. I mean, they need to at least be exposed to different ways of thinking. Obviously, I'm assuming she lives in Minnesota. It's a pretty liberal area up in there. And you're right, Mark. She's brainwashed or something. I meant clearly there's a problem with our society. And listen, I have 7 natural kids and I have a couple foster kids, and I love them all. I really do. I love them all to death, and I'll always love my kids. And I've always raised my children to be independent thinkers, and my children are still relatively young. Well, when I say they're young, they're in their 20s and 30s now. But the reality is that some of them think more along the lines the way I think, and some of them, unfortunately, kind of think like this young lady thinks. I mean, if I had to put my finger on it, I think it's like Mark Sapphire was saying right here, that they've been brainwashed. I think the way I would say it is they've been indoctrinated, especially the ones that have been to college. I have experienced college myself, and I have definitely experienced these professors that are way out there on the left fringe, to put it bluntly and mildly. They're generally tenured, so they're not worried about being fired for whatever nonsense comes out of their mouth. And I just think there's just a very heavy indoctrination going on. And I think for proof of that, I would submit the following. Why is it that teachers, and I love teachers, one of my daughters is a teacher, as a matter of fact, I think she teaches 6th, 7th grade, something like that. But why is it that generally teachers as a whole are 95, 97% Democrat? And when I say Democrat, I mean left leaning, heavily Democrat. I mean, there has to be a reason why these people generally all think the same way. And it's probably in part because of the education. If you want to use that word, I'd call it the indoctrination they have received at the college campuses. I'm hopeful that life, just over time, life experiences, they will get a more well-rounded experience of life. And I don't know, if you're like me, haven't you thought one way when you were younger, and as you've gotten older, your thinking has changed? I know mine has on certain things, but at any rate, that was my thinking.
When Afghanistan,
I look at this here. I just, what you got going on is you got the media having a spasm, to put it bluntly. I mean, they are just losing their, what. Let's listen to this.
If you look at the arc of the Biden presidency, he was in really good shape until August of 2021. When Afghanistan happened, he went under 40, she went under 40, and they really lived there until the end of the He's still there.
Why? Look, I'll tell you why.
Because he ran and told us that the adults were back in charge, and that was the opposite.
Yeah, they
of
were
that.
because Donald Trump was a child.
And you know what else?
Yeah.
And you know what else?
He's a
the fact that they wouldn't give these 13 service members' families the time of
bullshit,
day.
Dude.
Time of day.
I'm sorry, but Donald Trump hates veterans. He called them suckers and losers. He did. He absolutely, despite
how many times can they restate the same lies all the time? It's like they don't even care about the truth. I've heard Kamala Harris say this exact nonsense. This is not a true thing. It never happened. As a matter of fact, John Bolton, who is not a friend of Donald Trump, was there when these alleged suckers and losers comment was allegedly stated, and he has said unequivocally, I was there, I was with President Trump at that time, and it never happened. It's false. But they keep repeating these same falsehoods. It's the old adage of let's just take a handful of crap and throw it against the wall and see what sticks. And that's exactly what's going on.
His whole life. He has his entire life.
I know you're super emotional. I just,
of course I am. I'm terrified.
I'm telling you, the political reality is that
I like that comeback. I know you're super emotional. That kind of puts them off the center.
When they made that decision,
it doesn't matter. But you don't admit
that
Donald Trump hates veterans. You don't admit it. You deny a man, Chief John Kelly, a Marine. You deny. You say he lied.
You're still campaigning.
You say he lied.
Let me let
it's not over. It'll never be.
I want to hear what Cole.
It'll never.
I like that point. That Republican gentleman just said, "Oh, you're still campaigning. They're still campaigning. Here's a poll of what we were just talking about, and I believe this was Joy Reid. Yeah, Joy Reid admits that President Trump won every age group of men, and then she wrongly criticizes Latino men for voting for deporting illegals. Joy insulting Americans for putting Americans first won't convince them to ever vote her far left Democratic Party way. I mean, let's call it what it is. We were just talking about the different areas that Donald Trump did well on versus the areas that Kamala Harris excelled at. And just like that video we watched yesterday on CNN, when they said, let's pull up and see where Kamala Harris exceeded President Biden, and nothing pulled up. It was a blank screen. I personally found that hilarious. But let's take a quick peek at this, and let's see what Joy Reid, we just love
every
Joy
age
Reid,
group
right?
of men, and Trump won every age group of men, including 60% of Gen X men and 6 in 10 white men. Also Latino men, who despite the utter disrespect.
And of course, they are saying definitively that Latino men are racial. They're prejudiced. We don't have time to get into it today on The View, but you should have seen the last 2 or 3 days on The View. And I don't necessarily particularly enjoy watching The View, but it's hilarious. So I watch them because I do these talk programs. I have to watch that stuff because I want to comment on it and make sure that the indoctrination, the nonsense is stopped. But that's exactly what they're saying. They were saying on the View today, especially that Sunny Holston or whatever her name is. She was essentially saying that America is racist, that America is just nonsense coming out of her mouth. But it's everybody's fault, and everybody's a misogynist, everybody's a racist, just crazy stuff. Let's continue with the
Respect shown by Trump and his promise to deport some of your mixed status families. Most of them voted in a 55% majority.
Yeah, take a look at this here, and I have one important comment I want to make about this. If you look at whites, Trump won 60% of whites. Trump won 21% of blacks. It's unfortunate that our black brothers and sisters seem to blindly follow the Democratic Party or the Democratic narrative. I don't fully understand why that is, and it's unfortunate. I do know there are a lot of podcasters, influencers, if you will. Some of them I'm good friends with that are on YouTube and X and some other platforms, and they are always talking what we're talking about right now, and that is that Black American men and women, they have to think for themselves and stop buying this indoctrination that you're a victim and that you're owed something. This is a meritocracy. You basically are going to earn what you work for, what you drill down for. Don't expect anybody to give you nothing. I don't care what your skin color is or what your background is. All we can do is give each and every one of us the same chance under our great country. And what does that mean? It's not what Kamala Harris means when she says that. I believe in equality under the law. These people don't want just equality. They want something called equity. And you don't want equity. That's just a fancy way of saying that we're going to take more from certain people and give it to certain people that don't have it or lost it or whatever. It's just trying to make everything equitable among each and every one of us. And my friends, that is the definition of socialism/communism. And you pray that never happens. On the Latino vote, this is what I really wanted to comment on. Latino vote, you had 55% support Trump. Can you believe that? That is fantastic. Let me tell you why this figure is so important, and then we'll start working on landing the plane right here. This figure is absolutely critical. 55% of Latinos won by President Trump. I firmly believe that the reason, and again, let's just call it the JRdukes theory of life or whatever you want to call it. I believe that the reason that you have Joe Biden and all these kooks, if you will, effectively, I don't know how you put it in direct words, but the reason they're allowing all these people into our country is one reason only. It's a power grab. They don't give a damn about any of these people coming over here. What they care about is they care about power, and they think it's a power grab. They believe letting all the Latinos in illegally is going to ensure power, a lock on power forever, because of all the Latinos coming in. In other words, they're thinking the Latinos will vote as one group. And then when they vote as one group, the group they're going to vote in is the Democratic Party. But this proves, ladies and gentlemen, this proves what I have been saying all along, and that is nonsense. That's just a false thinking. Latino people in general, they are just like all Americans. They value family. They are generally Christian / Catholic. You know, they as a whole, they generally have a deep religious conviction. They value their families. And listen, it can be stereotypical. I don't care. I'm just telling you what the reality is. And that is Latino people are hard workers. We all know that. If there's any type of stereotype pertaining to Latinos, they work their backside off. You know that, and I know that. That's where meritocracy comes in. When you work hard and you go for it and you drill down and do what you need to do to be successful, you generally are going to end up having a successful result. And that is what the Democrats do not understand about the Latino people in general. And that is, they're just like all Americans, and they don't want a handout. They think they want free food, free handouts, free whatever. And that's not what they want. They want a better life for them and for their families, period. And this election with Donald Trump, number one on my list is how wonderful this is. This is not a future lock for the Democratic Party. Am I making sense on this? I hope y'all are understanding what I'm saying. Let me know. Sapphire, do you get this? Am I making sense on this? It's not going to be a lock like they think it's going to be for the Democrats. Even if they don't get a pathway to citizenship right now, they're betting, I'm talking about the Democrats are betting that the children that these immigrants have are going to be able to vote. And when they vote in 18 years, they're going to vote for the Democrats. But that's not the way it's going to work out. It's not a lock. It's not. And yeah, Sapphire, you're right on there. It's not a lock. And I find that good. I'm very happy about that. I hope y'all agree with me on that. That's just the way I see the world, and I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that did my heart good to be perfectly blunt about it. So, any rate, let's go ahead and take a look at the comments here. I think we got most of them already done. I appreciate everybody being with me.
Make the deportations happen. Trump won every age
out of
group.
my ear every once in a while, but okay. All right, good. I think I got all of them done. All right. I want to say again, Matt, thank you so much for your super chats. I appreciate it. Rosemary, I definitely appreciate your super chat, sweetheart. You guys are the best. Appreciate everybody joining me today. I don't take it for granted that you take time to have a conversation with me, to hear what's on my mind, in my heart. It's important that we continue to have this dialogue. If you know a family member, a friend that suffers with the dreaded disease of indoctrination, please share the channel with them, because I think it's important for people to hear different points of view, different opinions. And of course, that is what I'm all about and what my channel is all about. So thanks for joining me again. I really do appreciate it. I want to keep it right around this hour mark so that it just doesn't go on and on and on and get boring. So I appreciate the power hour we just had. May God bless each and every one of you and your families, and may his special anointing be on each and every one of you. I always like to say, my friends, keep that mind free, never give up. Until next time, I am JRdukes.